Today's video is going to be something a little different. It's going to be part rant and part story time. Let's get started. Okay, maybe despise is a little strong for the title, but let me give you a little backstory here. When I got this gun here, Glock 22 police trade-in, had that horrible New York trigger in it. So I wanted to get the new trigger spring as soon as I could. I could order it on eBay or Amazon for relatively cheap, but I wanted to get it before the weekend and before I made the video on it, and before I took it to the range the first time. So my only option was, if I wanted it that quick, was to go to one of the local gun stores. There's one just about 4 miles down the road from where I work. Pretty good sized gun store. I figured they would have it. So I go in there, get there right when they open, and I walk in, tell the guy what I'm looking for, and the gunsmith comes up. From what I've heard, he's a very good gunsmith, older guy. It looks like he's more, and no offense, looks like he's more adept at working on, Smith & Wesson or classic 1911. Smith & Wesson revolver, that is. The more classic guns. So I tell the guy, I say, look, I got this Glock here. I hadn't taken it in yet. I got this Glock here. It's got that New York trigger in it. I just need to get a new trigger spring for it. So he looks around. He can't find it. So it turns out what the guy had in stock was the Ghost spring kit, in which that worked out great because I wanted to get the 3.5 pound connector too. So I tell him, yeah, that's what I need. And the gunsmith is actually the one that found it in their stock. So he asked me if I've got the gun with me. And I'm thinking, yeah, but do you need to see the gun? So I have no idea why he wants to see the gun. So I said, sure, it's in the car. So he asked me to bring it in. I'm thinking, okay. So I proceed to ask him how he wants me to bring it in. So I know some gun stores will keep a box of chamber flags under the counter for just such an occasion. So I ask him, how you want me to bring it in? And before I could say slide lock back, whatever, they both say unloaded. Like that, scream at me, more or less. So I was a little bit taken aback by that. I wasn't expecting to get that kind of reaction. I've been in this gun store quite a bit. I've bought a few guns there. The Glock 19 I had, the first Glock I had, I actually bought there. I don't claim to be any sort of internet gun expert or anything, but I've been around guns a while. I shoot a lot. I know enough to be dangerous, pardon the pun, about guns. So I was thinking, okay, whatever. So I asked him, slide lock back. He said, yeah, sure, whatever, just unload it. So I go out the car, get it, bring it in like this. Slide is locked back, and there's no magazine in it. It's in this condition right here. And I'm carrying it in like this, upside down, gun pointed down, upside down, backwards in my hand, so as to alleviate any fears they may have of me bringing in a loaded gun in my hand. So the guy's looking at the gun, and he picks it up off the counter and just starts walking away with it. And I said, I assume he's going to install it. So I asked the guy at the register, I said, so is there a charge for that? And he's like, well, yeah, implying, well, yeah. So I'd say, well, I don't need it installed, man. It's just a Glock. I can do it myself. I just need the parts. So he said, okay. And at this point, I'm a little bit perturbed about that. I'm already paying not considerably more, but about $8 more than I would have paid online for this spring kit and connector, because I needed it that day to get the video done that weekend. So he brings my gun back, and I pay for my parts and go on out the door and call it a day. But it just goes to show, and I know these guys probably deal with morons on a daily basis that know absolutely nothing about guns. I understand that, but I hate to be taken for a moron. As with a lot of local gun shops, they do get a lot of turnover, and they're, just the guys that work the front. The guys that used to work there, I knew, they knew me, we were all cool. I haven't been in there very much lately, so there you have it. New people. Do with that what you will. Take it with a grain of salt. I was not terribly impressed with it. I didn't leave feeling very happy, you could say. But there's another local gun shop, smaller gun shop, and I didn't know if he would have this part or not, but this dude is amazing. I've bought several guns from him. I've done a lot of transfers through him. He's just a cool dude. Older guy, just relaxed, cool. Pretty much he knows me, pretty much any time, even before he knew me. Pretty much any time I went in there, I bought the Mosin I had there. When it came in, you know, he let me look through, he had a whole case of them, let me look through a few when I picked out the one I wanted, and gave me a very fair price on it. I think at that time, I paid like $160 for the Mosin. It was really nice. It came in a Molot box, had no Cosmoline on it whatsoever. So I thought $160 for a Mosin with no Cosmoline on it that had already been cleaned and in really great shape was a good deal. But this dude also, when I went in there looking at guns, he's an older guy, has some mobility issues. He'll gladly help you behind the counter, but if he knows you, knows you're cool, he'll say, well, you just come around the counter and look at whatever you want, man. So that's an example of a good local gun shop. And another story, this one, they're no longer in business, so I'll gladly tell you the name. It was Coal Creek Armory in Knoxville, Tennessee, right off of the Lovell Road exit. The actual shop is still there. It's under new ownership now. About 10 years ago, I guess, it was about 10 years ago, I got my first .22 rifle. It was a Remington 597, I believe. I was not aware of any outdoor ranges in my area at that point, and this store had an indoor range, and they would let you shoot pistol caliber rifles or rimfire rifles in their range, but no, .223, anything high power, high velocity rifle. It's just 25-yard range. So if you ever shot at an indoor range, you have to watch the safety video or read their safety instructions, sign the waiver and all that before they let you go on the range. I'd taken my rifle in, my ammo, had it in a bag, and I was filling out the paperwork and had to go back out to my truck for something. It's been 10 years ago, I forget what I had to go, maybe some more ammo or whatever I had to get out of there. But it was literally like a 15-second trip out the door, get my truck, come back in. So I asked the guy, I said, is it cool if I leave my bag leaned up against the counter here? Just go around to the truck and get something. He's like, well, if you want it to get stolen, yeah. So I'm thinking, what kind of shady shop is this? I can't leave this sitting here for like 15 seconds to go up to my truck. But I digress. Took the rifle with me, went out to my truck, got what I needed, came back in, go onto the range, get to the far right. They had a little rifle table set up. And this range is so dark in there. They only had lights. And of course, this was, 10 years ago. They had dim incandescent lights set up at like 7, 15, and then the 25-yard line. Anything in between, you couldn't see your target. That's one of the many reasons why they are no longer in business as that company. That and the fact that multiple people got hit by ricochets coming off of their poorly engineered backstop. A few weeks before they closed, there was a lady who had to be carried out on a stretcher because she got hit by a ricochet pretty bad. She lived, she was okay, but she got hit by a ricochet pretty bad. So that is my beef with local gun shops. Most local gun shops. There's some good ones out there, but there's also some bad ones that are the reason that I do most of my gun buying online. And that's not to mention the fact that the good gun shop I talked about, the guy charges $25 for a transfer. That's $15 for the store, $10 for the Tennessee background check. The first gun shop I mentioned, the one with the not so nice people, they charge $35 and then add tax on top of that. So Tennessee sales tax is about 9% to 9.5% depending on the county. So you're walking out the door with close to $40 in a transfer. Not to mention their guns in store are overpriced for the most part, and they will not haggle with you. And they kind of have that Bud's Gun Shop thing going on, where if you pay cash, you'll pay the price on the sticker, but if you want to pay with a card, there's no 3%. So my good local gun shop, the one or two that are around here that I frequent, do get my business, and they have earned it. They treat me with respect, and they're just good people. And I do realize that, yes, these guys do probably have people come in every day to either bring a gun in to get worked on or try and sell. And they say, oh yeah, the gun's loaded, see, no magazine. As soon as they rack the slide, bullet falls out. So I do understand that. nothing like gunpowder and a good cigar to get you going in the morning. Don't forget that.